Hey, what is up guys? This is Nanobread and welcome back to Stardew Every Day for day 3. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of surprised that I've lasted this long, but Waligug, who I mentioned in the first video, who's my inspiration for this, he didn't last past day 5, so I'm gonna be a little nervous once we get to Friday and beyond. But for now, I'm just gonna focus on the present. So my goals for today, I will be fishing again, just because there's not really much to do early game besides like trying to talk to people and make as much money as possible since like the mines aren't open yet. So I'm just gonna be slaving away back at the mountain lake. Before I get any further, I just wanted to say thank you once again for everyone that's commented across both videos. It's been a lot more interaction than I thought I would get, especially at the beginning here, and it's been really fun like bantering with some of you in the comments and finding out more about you guys, and I hope in return you guys also find out more about me. Alright, so jumping straight into some of the topics today, I'll put them down below. I corrected myself this time, I'm not pointing above me. The first one is from Courtney Quatch. Once again, thank you so much for leaving another suggestion for a video topic, but this one will be about daylight savings. So I believe on November 3rd, for where I'm at, daylight savings will take place and time will go backwards. I actually didn't know until recently that it was referred to as fall back and spring forward. After knowing that, it's been really easy keeping track of like when we are gonna lose an hour versus when we're gaining an hour. I really hate it when time skips forward, just because then I lose an hour in my day and that means I have an hour less of sleep. But luckily, since it's fall, time is going to go back. In particular, she asked what I thought about daylight savings, and honestly, I am not too big of a fan. In fall, right now, I think it gets dark maybe at 6:30, but with daylight savings, that means it'll get dark at 5:30. And that's not something I really enjoy. I kind of like having the daylight. If I'm being honest though, I actually don't know what is good about having less light in the day. So if you guys do know that, please let me know in the comments. I'm kind of ignorant about that. With that being said though, I do like how there's more sunlight in the day when we skip forward in time come springtime. So I guess that's a plus over there. Besides that, daylight savings just kind of seems like an inconvenience to me, but if you guys have different opinions, please leave that down in the comment section. I really want to hear what you guys think about it and to see what I'm ignorant about. From another comment I saw in the previous video, he asked me who is my favorite romanceable NPC. I'll put his comment down below. I like this idea very much, but it's kind of hard for me to decide who's my favorite just because I see positives and negatives in everyone. So in this one, I'll just give you maybe who's my first NPC that I guess liked the most. Since there is so many people for me to talk about, that actually gave me an idea to make my own tier list video about how I feel about everyone in Stardew Valley. So thank you for giving me that idea. If I had to give an answer about who I like the most in terms of the romanceable people, it would probably be Leah. She's the first person I ever went after in one of my playthroughs. Unfortunately, not for good reasons. When I first hopped into the game, you were introduced to both Lewis and Robin. And there was something about Robin that I just really liked. Maybe it's that she felt really motherly. You guys can't imagine the disappointment I must have had when I found out that Robin was not only married once, but she was married twice, and that made her ineligible to be married to. So I went through all the characters, and guess who's another redheaded girl in the game that you can marry? And that would be Leah. Now, I know that seems really awful at first, but I promise you, I did really like her by the end of me exploring her story. All of the Stardew people, especially the romanceable ones, they all fall under kind of like a stereotype, and Leah's no different. She's like a starving artist that originally was from the city, but then she moved away due to her having kind of a toxic boyfriend and not really enjoying the lifestyle in the city. Even though that may be basic, I do kind of like the premise of it, just because at least some parts of that resonate with me. I personally don't want to live right next to a big city. I've lived somewhat close to San Francisco, and now I live pretty close to LA, and this is probably the closest I ever want to be to a big city. I especially don't want to live inside of one. I think it'd just be too busy for me. But in terms of relating, that's like pretty much it. Another aspect of her that I really resonate with is the financial aspect. We are both really broke, and we are both kind of like starving artists who want to make it big in their career. Even though I did just start YouTube, this is something I hope that can turn into my career. And right now, I do love the progress that I'm making, but I'm definitely a ways away from being able to do this for my future job. Another thing I really like about her, especially in this game, is that it's really easy to find her, because I think she goes to the bar almost every night. And although there are tools for me, like the Stardew wiki, to see where she is at all times, it kind of disrupts the flow of when I'm playing. So I kind of just like to know where they are. And yes, I can memorize their schedule, but that just takes up more brain space that I already don't have. Also for Leah, it was very easy to give her gifts, especially since one of her loved items is a salad, and you can just buy a salad at the Stardrop Saloon. So that also made it incredibly easy to make progress in terms of hearts with her. But in the end, through all the cutscenes of her selling her work either online or having an art show in the town, and her boyfriend coming back, or ex-boyfriend should I say, coming back to try to get her back to the city and win her over. It was just really sweet and wholesome, and I love that you were able to play a big part in it. Like, of course you are, because you're kind of the main character in this. Some honorable mentions for the female candidates. I really liked Abigail because she's, one, a gamer, and two, she had purple hair, which is pretty different from what normal people have. And Haley, she is very stereotypical in the sense where she is like the preppy girl who is kind of very obnoxious and ignorant about how like people are. She hates it because you're a farmer at first and you're really dirty. But she has the classic character arc where once she gets to know you more, she starts not being as annoying. She'll like start donating her clothes, and then she'll even go and take some pictures with some cows and get dirty from it. For the male candidates, it's kind of hard for me to really be interested in any of them, just because I also don't really like most of their personalities. But in my latest file that I've been playing through on my own, I decided to go after Harvey. He's, you know, the local town doctor. He's a shy boy who's into planes. And one of the reasons I went after him, one, my girlfriend liked it because she is also very into coffee. And two, it's very easy to give him gifts. Similar with Leah, you can buy coffee at the Stardrop Saloon. It's also very easy to make yourself once you get a singular coffee bean, which you can start growing in the spring and summer, and then just put it into a keg. They multiply very fast, and they're made into coffee almost instantly. But he also likes pickles, which isn't something that's hard to make, especially if you have something that grows, that does multiple harvests, like corn or something, and it's not very expensive on its own. One thing that really interests me about Harvey, since he is like this shy and kind of awkward young man, is he loves both coffee and pickles. So I wonder how freaky he is. Like, does he dunk those pickles in his coffee? I know that's a thing for some people and they really like it, but that just sounds like such an awful combination to me. I know it's not the same thing, but I feel like it's kind of in a similar vein. Recently at Omomo, which is one of my local boba stores that I really like, there's always a drink on the menu that really intrigued me, and it wasn't until maybe a couple of days ago where I finally tried it. It was a lemon coffee. It's pretty much exactly how it sounds. Majority of the drink was lemonade, and it was topped off with espresso, I believe. And my god, it wasn't as bad as you would think it is. If you're a normal person that likes citrus and coffee together, you know, power to you. It's just not for me. The first sip, every sip was the hardest to intake. When it sat in my mouth, I didn't really had any strong feelings for it, but when I swallowed it, it pretty much just tasted like lemonade. So I just had a lemonade with a really funky taste at the beginning. I'm glad I did try it though, because I do like to be adventurous about things. I would not get that again though. I'd rate that maybe a 4 out of 10, and that's being very generous. This river jelly is pretty new. I have no idea that existed until I played it again maybe like last month in preparation for this. These like jellies are kind of busted. Like, it's apparently rare, but I feel like you catch them enough where I wouldn't really consider them that. They give you a good amount of energy, a good amount of health, and they even give you plus 30 max energy for 7 minutes. That's pretty good, especially when you're fishing the entire day. Also, there was a person in the comments section last video who thought I was slandering the fishing minigame. They said it was their favorite. I do partially agree with that. I feel like I was maybe a little too harsh, but in the beginning, especially like in spring, when you're just starting out, the fish are really easy to catch. None of them are really like difficult or anything, and that's why I find it boring. Because if you guys have been looking at the gameplay this entire time, I have just been like sitting here waiting to click when I see the exclamation mark and then keep the fish in the green bar, which these fish don't move that fast, so I don't really have to pay attention to catch it. Later on, I will admit it gets harder, and that's when it becomes more fun because it challenges you more. But I do see her point. I'm not sorry about it though. Wow, and just like that, I didn't realize that it was 11:20 p.m. I meant to go to the ocean today because eels can spawn on rainy days in the spring, and eels are pretty expensive and pretty hard to catch. So I kind of missed out my opportunity, since the third of your first spring is always guaranteed to rain, but there'll be more rainy days. Alright, my inventory is full and it's almost midnight, so I'm gonna run back home. Alright, I am back home now, and let me see what I want to sell. Another thing about me selling, I know you guys heard me last time, but what I didn't tell you is I also like to keep at least 2 of everything, and then the more I get of something, I'll increase the quantity that I like to keep. Like these algae, I almost always keep them, I almost never sell them, but there's no real logic to it, but if it's at 5 or like 10 or a nice number, I'll keep it at that number and then sell the excess until it gets to the next number when I forget to inevitably sell something. Alright, so I'm going to sell the bullheads, the chubs, and then the largemouth bass. Alright, and with that, we have come to the end of another video. So I talked about my favorite romanceable NPC today, but please leave down in the comments who yours is. And if you don't have a favorite romanceable one, just tell me who's your favorite NPC in Stardew Valley. On top of that, I wanted to ask you guys to leave more conversation topics down in the comment section. I do try my best to read and reply to everyone's comment as soon as I can, and I would really appreciate it if you guys gave me more stuff to talk about. A few more things before I end this video. I have hired one of my friends to draw a thumbnail, an intro, and an outro for my channel. That way it looks a little more professional and won't just be like a black screen for the end and a randomly selected image from the gameplay to put as my thumbnail. I'll shout her out as soon as those are done, and I really like her art style, so I'm really excited to see what she can do for me. One more thing before we go. I was trying to think of community names for you guys, and the first one that came to mind was Loafers, just because I'm Nana Bread and you guys are my community, so I thought bread, loaf, you know, it all works out. I also know that loafers is shoes, so it might be a little weird to call you guys that, so I want you guys to put your suggestions down in the comments as well. The one with the most likes, or just the one that maybe I like the most, will be what I call you guys from now on. Alright, and with that, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, you know, all the really basic things that YouTubers tell you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright, take care.